This is every mother's nightmare. With her 3-year-old daughter Nessie in tow, Marina Krim returned to their 10-story apartment building on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Marina was slightly concerned because her children's nanny, Yoselin Ortega, hadn't met her at Marina's daughter's ballet class with her 2 oldest children as she should have. After a preliminary search of the apartment, Marina found Yoselin with her 2 children in the bathroom. Blood covered 6-year-old Lucia and 2-year-old Lucas, and when Yoselin made eye contact with Maria, the nanny started to stab herself in the neck. When residents of the luxury high-rise building heard Marina's screams, they dialed 911. Police officers arrived at a horrific scene. 2 children were lying in the bathtub dying from multiple stab wounds, and an older woman was on the floor bleeding from the neck while another crouched on the floor screaming in grief. EMTs rushed Yoselin to the hospital, where doctors treated her for deep wounds on her throat and wrist. When Yoselin was finally in condition to talk to investigators, she didn't confess to the crime, ominously telling them Marina knew what happened. According to sources, Yoselin held resentment towards Marina Krim. When Yoselin asked for a raise, Marina insisted she could do housework for extra money. Also, the day before the murders, Marina had argued with Yoselin, asking her to pay more attention to the children and to stop giving them so much junk food. But by all accounts, Marina and her husband treated Yoselin like a member of the Krim family. Once, the family accompanied their nanny on a trip to her home county of the Dominican Republic. Marina and her husband funded the trip for Yoselin and paid for various other things for her. Yoselin had been watching Lucia, Leo, and Nessie for 2 years, and never once did Yoselin show any sign of the violence she would eventually inflict on the children. Prosecutors charged Yoselin with 2 counts of first-degree murder in November 2012. It would take 6 years, but in 2018, Yoselin had her day in court for the murders of Lucia and Leo. Yoselin entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. Defense lawyers argued on Yoselin's behalf that at the time, she committed the crime due to a mental illness. The prosecution refuted the defense's claim of insanity by showing the court that Yoselin was of sound mind and could be held responsible for her actions. After a jury found Yoselin guilty, the judge presiding over the trial criticized her and her family for being irresponsible by not taking care of her mental illness and not informing her employer of it before caring for their children. Marina and her husband set up a charity for their children, Lucia and Leo. The Lucia and Leo Fund helps give disadvantaged youth access to the arts. The couple had 2 babies, Felix and Linus, after their oldest children's death. In 2018, Governor Cuomo passed a law in Leo and Lucia's name, making it a felony for children caregivers to lie about their background.